Hi, it's Kelly here from Spiritual Awakening Signs, and welcome to our Starseed Masterclass. Are you a spiritual starseed? We've got lots to cover in this video. We're going to cover what is a starseed, what does that really mean, why they incarnate here on Earth, 5 signs that you are a spiritual starseed, so you'll know for sure by the end of this video, and how to thrive on Earth as a spiritual starseed. That's the most challenging part of all, and we're going to cover that for you today. Now, there are a few things that I want you to know. If there's only one thing that you take away from this entire video, this next few minutes are really the key information that you're going to need. Starseeds are advanced souls from other galaxies, other star systems and spiritual planes who have volunteered to come here to Earth to help its inhabitants and the Earth as an energy. Okay, so it's all about helping the Earth in its ascension process, raising that vibration. But unfortunately, the amnesia that we get when we incarnate here on Earth has caused a lot of us starseeds to forget who we really are, to forget why we came here, and to forget all the amazing spiritual gifts and abilities that we came here to help with too. And that can make us feel really disconnected. It can make us feel totally depressed, and we might not know why. We didn't realise before we came down here how lonely, how harsh and how limiting the Earth plane was actually going to be, and it can be a real shock to the system. So we need to reconnect with those spiritual starseed roots. Once we do connect with those high vibrational energies, we can align with our soul purpose. We can feel so much more at peace here on Earth, and we know that we're going to be supported and guided by those ascended energies of the stars. It can really start to guide your life in the most incredible way because it's a part of who you are. So let's get into this content today. So I spoke a little bit about what starseeds are. We're going to go into more detail now. So like I said, starseeds are advanced souls, so higher vibrational souls who are further along that ascension pathway, who originate from other galaxies, star systems and spiritual planes, who volunteer to help Earth and all of its inhabitants in the ascension process. In order to do that, they incarnated with amazing gifts and abilities. It could be spiritual gifts, it could be creative gifts, gifts of communication, but the amnesia of Earth causes us to forget these amazing gifts and abilities. And worse, even worse still than that, even though a starseed is human, as a human being, their souls are not of this world, so they find an earthly life incredibly difficult and are quite prone to getting depressed, feeling sad, feeling disappointed with life, and they're very often left confused and puzzled by seemingly illogical or inefficient processes and ways of being that we have here. They get frustrated by the limits of communication, how slow it is. They get exhausted by constant obstacles and problems that daily life tends to provide, and they're often really shocked by the harshness of the world that really can just shock them to their core. It's just an awful thing to experience. It's not something that they're used to. Violence and aggression and harshness is just not within their energy. Now this can lead to a starseed feeling incredibly lonely, feeling that they're longing for their true home, even if they don't know quite where that is. Because just because you're a starseed doesn't mean you're necessarily longing to go home to the stars. You might just feel that you're not at home and you don't know where home really is, and feeling generally like they just don't belong. Maybe they feel they don't belong here in the world. Maybe they feel they don't belong, within their families. It's a really big challenge. Apologies if you heard some squeals here. There's some kids outside playing. And the thing is, I started to see this in my sessions. There was an awakening that began en masse. I began to see this in my sessions with my clients all of a sudden a number of years ago. Now, I used to work with clients and they would remember past lives really quite often, but what started to happen was all of a sudden I had one client who had a memory, and I said, what are you seeing, what are you experiencing, what is it that we need to heal? And they said, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand what I'm looking at. I don't understand, my body doesn't look right, or I have a light body. People would tell me different things. And they didn't understand what they were really looking at. They believed it couldn't be real because it didn't make sense. But there was so much emotion attached to it. And once one customer went through this, and I worked with that with one client, it happened with lots of different clients and it's been happening ever since. This stuff comes up all the time. And what I realised is that the energy shifted, and all of a sudden we were going through the ascension process, and what happened was the timeline that we had access to of our souls, that would have been our earthly life and all the little lifetimes that we'd lived, changed and it expanded. And it was like, okay, here's all the lifetimes, all the different dimensions, all the different planes, all the different experiences, something that had been limiting us from seeing more that our soul had been through. Suddenly the veil just lifted and we had access to all this information that was just like, wow. And people were really accepting of it. People, you would think it would be a shock to the system. Most people, because of the emotion, were like, this doesn't make sense to my eyes, but I know that it's true. So it's really just a matter of higher vibrations, different planes. The energy that we're talking of with starseed energy is really the energy of the ascended masters. It is spiritual progression that has moved on to a certain level, that's full of wisdom. Unfortunately, we forget a lot of that when we come down here. So that's really what we're trying to do, is to reconnect you with all of that. Now, let's talk about if you are a spiritual starseed, because you're probably questioning if that's true. I hope that you're already resonating with some of the things that we've spoken about. And a key sign would be if you're getting emotional, or you're feeling your emotions stir as you listen to any of this. So let's talk about the 5 signs. The first sign, and of course any one of these signs could be an indicative sign that you are a starseed. So sign number 1 would be that you're going through or have been through a spiritual awakening. That often includes a dark night of the soul, a particularly difficult, challenging time in your life. Another sign would be that you're highly sensitive or an intuitive person. You feel like an alien, or that you don't belong. Maybe it's you don't feel that you belong within your family, or just in the planet, with other people. You have a strong sense of mission. Even if you don't know what it is yet, you might just know that you're here to do something, but you just can't think what it is. And you long to go home to the stars or to somewhere else. Like I said, just because you're a starseed doesn't mean necessarily that you will long to go home to the stars. You might just know that this isn't home, and you just can't quite work out what it is you're looking for. If you're still not quite sure if you're a spiritual starseed, the most telling sign of all is that the thought of being a starseed just feels right. There's just something, trust your inner knowing, there's just something within that tells you, I'm a starseed, I'm not from here. It will never guide you wrong. So let's get on to the next topic, which is how to thrive as a starseed, because it's not easy. It is not easy if you are that sensitive, ascended energy, to be here in the harshness of the earth plane. It's very, very difficult, actually. So let's talk about the 3 steps that you can take to sync with your starseed roots. And during awakening really is the perfect time to do that, to truly awaken, to remember who you really are. Spiritual awakening makes it much easier for you to access all that information. Just like I was talking about earlier about those timelines, it makes it easier for your system to kind of tap into that and draw the gifts and abilities from that. Like I said, the truth is that being a spiritual starseed here on earth is not easy, but it can be easier, and if you follow our 3-step process, you will learn to thrive as a spiritual starseed. So let's get started. So step 1 is to remember that you're not alone, and that's a difficult one. Being a starseed can feel incredibly lonely at times, but please remember that you are part of a much larger collective mission, full of other souls that have come here too. We are a team. This is a collective mission, and you are not on your own in this. You may feel alone, but you're not alone. You're part of a huge collective of souls that have all come here to do the same thing, and many of them are feeling alone at times too. So just know that you're part of a team, and you are needed as part of this team. Step 2 is to find your purpose, and a little hint there would be, it's your joy. It is your joy. Your mission always, always, always aligns with your skills, your passions, and your interests. So if you don't know what it is or what it could be, just begin by doing things that you actually enjoy. Do things that you enjoy doing, and that's going to change your energy. It's going to help you to help shift and fulfill your mission, because for some starseeds, just being here, just your energy being here is enough to help to raise the vibration of and the frequency of the planet. So the higher your energy, the better it's going to be. The more happy you are in your energy, the more positive energy that's going to radiate out from you, and the more that you're going to be able to assist the people around you and the energy around you in a really big way. So have some fun and you'll find those gifts and abilities start to flourish, and you'll probably find that the gifts and abilities that you came here with, whether it's spiritual gifts or creative gifts or different talents, they're all going to start to come to the surface just by doing what you enjoy. So please do that. Step 3 is to sync up with your starseed roots. That lonely, abandoned feeling that you have won't go away until your soul remembers its true spiritual roots. Now, when you do, you're going to have a better direction in life. You're going to find that you're intuitively guided by that special starseed energy, and it's going to raise your energetic vibration too. Best of all, that loneliness that you feel, it's going to ease off, and you'll feel much more connected daily, because your soul will know that it's tuned into that starseed energy. It's connected. It's like a feedback loop, connected all the time. So even though nothing in your physical life may seem any different, within you'll know that connection is there. Now, to do that, you could pray, you could meditate, you could call out to your starseed roots in order to do that, or you could just allow our brand new meditation to do this for you. It's an energy healing meditation that will sync up to your energies up with your starseed roots, and you can use it. You can use it in future anytime that you start to feel disconnected or you need immediate support and reconnection to that starseed energy. It's very simple, quick and easy, and we use energy healing to do that for you in the meditation. We'll talk about that in just a little minute. But let's have a little recap of the things that we've covered so far. So starseeds are advanced souls from other galaxies, star systems and spiritual planes who volunteered to help Earth and all of its inhabitants in the ascension process, and I am certain, if you're still watching, that you're a starseed too. We talked about 5 signs that you're a starseed. So maybe you've been going through a spiritual awakening or a dark night of the soul, you're a highly sensitive or intuitive person, you feel like an alien or you feel like you don't belong somehow, you have a strong sense of mission, even if you don't know what it is yet, and you long to go home to the stars or somewhere else. You just know you're not at home here. We also covered how to thrive as a spiritual starseed. So remember that you're not alone. Find your purpose, and that little hint was, it's your joy, it's the thing that you enjoy doing most, it's the things that you find fun, and sync up with your spiritual starseed roots using energy healing. That's the best way to do it. Now, the good news is you don't need to go to energy healers, you don't need to go and do training, you don't need expensive repeated sessions. If you're ready to get started on syncing with your starseed roots right now, then you can check out our brand new energy healing meditation called the Starseed Sync. Specifically created to reconnect you with your starseed roots, to align you with your soul mission, guided by the ascended energies of the stars, and to help you feel a lot more at ease on Earth. And you can get started in about 10 minutes time from when you're watching this video. You're not going to find a product like this anywhere else. Our meditations are a special blend of meditation and energy healing, which brings a lot of activations with it as well. It is the equivalent of a specifically tailored energy healing session with me, because I work with a collection of high vibrational spirit guides who are dedicated to helping us on the awakening pathway, and they specifically tailor that energy to you. This is not just a blanket response. They work with you when you watch the video, no matter when you watch it. They work with you live, and they make those adjustments in your energies. It's very, very powerful. And of course, you can use these meditations again and again, as often as you need it, to continue to heal those layers, to continue to strengthen your connection. And you can do it at home and at your own pace. So this meditation is going to do a few key things. It's going to reconnect you with your starseed origin roots. It's going to help you to align with your previously chosen soul mission, so really aligning you with your purpose. It's going to help you to be guided by the ascended energies of the stars, which is just wonderful when you notice those signs in your daily life. You know you're being guided. It's going to help you to feel at ease and more at home on Earth as well. So you can check it out below and see if it resonates with you. Thank you so much for watching, and maintain that starseed energy as you go throughout your day. Know who you are and lift that energy. Help the planet. Thanks.